Hey you guys, this is Rafael from Shiloh Relics.com. I hope you all have had a great Thanksgiving. I hope things are going in your direction. I know I'm usually in my t-shirts when I do these, but I had this one on for that last video, so I figured I'll get a little more chance to wear it. Manuel of Nashville, the fellow that put Johnny Cash in black. Thank you, sir, for making this for me, and for my lady friend Catherine for getting it for me for Christmas last year. Coolest present I think I've ever got. So today we're going to talk about cool things to wear. This one, I figure with it just being Thanksgiving, we need something a little special today, and man, have we got it. This is one of the toughest to find of Civil War uniforms. And it's not fancy because it wasn't meant to be. This is an original enlisted man's uniform. You see you see many Confederate officers' coats because those officers generally had more money and they had more clothes. Those regular fighting men, the ones that were down in the trenches doing what had to be done during the war, were wearing simple things because most of them didn't have a lot of money. And that's just the way it was. So the Confederate government actually allotted money for uniforms for the Union, or for the Confederate privates and that type of thing, twice a year. Why would they do twice a year? Because they weren't the best constructed pieces and they weren't intended to last years and years and years. So 6 months, they expected it to be worn out and needed to be replaced. With that kind of thinking, at the end of the war, there weren't many left because that last, you don't know how many of them were made there towards the end, so they weren't intended to be used forever. Soldier got home, he kept wearing it too, so you didn't see it. In my 30 years, I've had a couple, maybe 3 of them, not many at all. You just don't see them. Go through those museums and look around. Most of the uniforms you see are the officers with all the fancy braid, the stuff that sparkled like that. It'll give you the sparkle. But those fighting men were wearing these, and they just don't exist. This one is believed to have been made at the Charleston depot. Since they weren't marked, you don't know for sure. The Richmond ones are the ones that you see most often. Don't see a lot of those, but the other armories and depots you just don't see very often at all. This one, very cool, homespun. Butternut is what you hear it referred to as. And if you notice, it has detail. And the detail on the sleeves and on the collar, it looks like a a piece of green like you would see off of a curtain, something like that. We were down in Charleston doing an Antiques Roadshow several years ago, and this lady walks up to the table and she throws down a suitcase, and she opens up the suitcase, and I'm thinking, oh, what's in there besides some moss and ain't no telling what else that I'm gonna need some penicillin to get rid of. She opens up the thing and she starts yanking on this coat, and she pulls out a coat, and it's a Confederate made South Carolina uniform, buttons down the front coat. And the reason I mention that, it had that same flavor green trimming it out. It almost looked like a curtain. It reminded me of the big heavy stuff that in the old Carol Burnett episode where she comes down dressed as Scarlet wearing the curtain rod, that kind of material that you see on that. Which, when I saw this one and they said that it's Charleston, I thought, that's the same kind of stuff that was on that South Carolina coat that we knew 100% was South Carolina. Because not only did she have that, and if you go back to the Roadshow archives, we did an appraisal on that one, and they have it on there as long as they haven't taken down the Confederate stuff yet. But go on there and check it out because it was cool. She was a nice lady, and she kept digging through the suitcase, and she starts yanking on some leather. And I'm like, oh, easy, we'll find out what it is. And so I take it out, and it's a South Carolina oval belt buckle on the original belt. So definitely South Carolina on that one. We believe it's South Carolina on this one. You got the butternut cloth. You got the green trim, which is probably faded from a different color. It was probably blue and faded to that. It's because it's probably just a standard infantry referred to as a shell jacket. I love this one because of many reasons, but one of the reasons, check out the buttons. They look like this. Spun wood. They didn't have a ton of brass. They didn't have a ton of anything. So what did they do for buttons? They got a lot of trees. Hell, if you ever been to South Carolina, they got plenty of them. So what they do? They spun that wood down, made the buttons out of it. And they're sewn on there with almost a thick, heavy, orange-looking tone thread. So it's a great coat. You can tell that it's got wear. It's got some damage to it, but it's wear damage. It's not moth damage. It's not anything that somebody has mistreated it. It's just a cool coat from every angle. I was fortunate enough to get the collection of Matt Woodburn, great guy from Franklin that loved to preserve history. And this came out of his collection. He had it for many years. He'd gotten it from Shannon Pritchard. It's got a great pedigree. It's on Shiloh Relics right now. Ain't cheap, but hell, quality ain't. So go on there, check it out. I got pictures from every angle. You can see it inside and out. It's one, if you buy this one, I don't know where I could get you another one. So don't miss your opportunity on that. Hope you guys have had a good Thanksgiving. I am so thankful for you guys. It has been a wonderful year. I think we've helped some folks. I know you guys have helped me because it's been a wonderful year, and I'm so thankful for each one of you. If you get a chance, please share these videos. Please tell your friends about them. This last week, I've had several folks like, that wasn't for me, but I knew that my buddy blah blah was looking for one of those, and I gave him your name and number, and they've ordered them, and I really appreciate that because I can use all the help I can get. I ain't too proud to take help. So you guys have a wonderful week. I hope that everything goes your direction. Remember to tell those that you love them, because if you don't, they might not know. I hope you guys are great. I'll catch you next time. Love y'all.